In this video, we will learn how to make the HTML page from scratch. Here I have opened a folder, and within that folder, I have created a file which is form.html. In this file, I have written some normal code, but what we will do it completely from scratch. So I will just create a using an Emmet abbreviation, I'll create a boilerplate. So it is just a very normal syntax, which is mainly like here we are defining what is the document type that we are writing in the file. So it is document type is HTML. Then this is a language flag which tells the browser that what language this web page is using, that is English. And then we have this head and body tags. Within the head tags we have like different kind of tags. These are mainly called the tags. Okay, so like here we have the meta tags that we are using UTF-8 encoding. Then this is the meta name. It is defining what viewport and what width size we want to keep. Like initial scale should be 1. And then this is the title that you will be seeing on the web page. Like to see this page on the browser, there are two ways. Either you can go to this specific file, like if I go to the file explorer and I have this in my documents with the name of coding. So here like it is the document, and like here you can see that is form. Either I can click on it and it will open that file. This is the file. Let's write something in the code of that file so that it is ensured that we are on the same file. So within the body tag, like this is the opening and this is the closing, I'll write using an H2 login form. So let's refresh this. Yeah, here we can see that it's a login form page, that the same that we are creating from the code. So other way to do it, like if you see that we had to refresh this page, so what we can do, the second way to open that same page is that we go to code. You should have an extension. From here you can download it, that is the live server. Okay, so this extension it is already installed in my system, so you can download it. What it will do, it will reflect your changes in real time. So once like you have, if I click on here, like let's go to the files, I right click here and I, if you can see, open with live server. If I do it, then what it will do, I would not have to again reload the page. If I do like login form in HTML, it will directly, yeah. So as you can see, I didn't actually refresh or reload the page. It just happened automatically on its own, and it is done because of the live server. Okay, so now let's come to the main part. We need to make a form in the HTML. If you are like very new to HTML, so let's see, in a form what basically elements that we actually have. We will create a very basic form that it's a contact form, we can say. So let's it's a login form. So in the login form, usually we have just two fields, the name and the password, or the username and the password. So we'll create that sort of a form. Okay, so for creating a form, that actually like whenever there is a form, you'll see that there are like submit button. On that submit button, all the information that you have filled in that form will actually go to the server for processing. So in that case, what we have is the form tag. So you can see that in this form tag, this is the opening and this is the closing. Within this, we usually have an action. In this action, we actually specify the files. Like if you are using PHP, there might be different files. So in it, we actually define the file name where we want to send this, like once it is done as submit, that where we want to send that. So now next, we will give it a field, like we'll get a input field. So in input field, like here you can see all the other tags have the opening and the closing, but input doesn't have the closing bracket. So we will put the name. It will be username. For styling purpose, you can actually give it an ID also, or like if you want to use JavaScript and you want to do any certain type of validation, that is also done using the ID. So we will give it the same ID and same name. Then we will give it a password. Okay, so let's see what progress is made till now. Yeah, so here you can see there are two fields, but it isn't it looking so basic? So let's do one thing. We will actually add a label also. Labels are usually used for defining what kind of information is we are asking. And here also we will put this for password. Let's keep it username instead of just name. Yeah. So now it's kind of looking better from previous, but still it's not like that much good. Here, like we have this two different username and password field. Let's add a button also. Okay, submit. Yeah. So when this is click, you can see the form is actually going to which place? It is going to submit.php, the same file name we have mentioned over here, submit.php. And it also has this kind of strings like the username, since we had nothing, so that is why it going like this. But if I add like my name and also like in the password I add this, then you can see that these informations are also going. But for like the forms, it is not recommended. That is done through JavaScript, how we will send this. So it's normally being taken as a get request. There are different kinds of requests. If you want to learn more about that, you can comment and I'll create a separate video for that. But right now let's just stick to the creating the login form. So right now it's coming all coming in the same line. Let's just beautify it a bit with the CSS. So let's first put it in different lines. So let's just add a div. Currently the input and the label, both of these elements have a display of inline, which means that they will only take as much as of width, the width depending on the content in them. So that's why it is not pushing the next, like this is the label, it is not pushing the input to the next line, and similarly for the other also. But in case we put this one in a div, what you will see, we will wrap only the label and the username. So yeah, so what it did is that now what is covered in div, this label and this username. So it actually took the whole width till here, and then the other part is pushed to the next line. Similarly, we will do it for the password also, and then you can actually see that what we can what it will do is that it will shift the submit to the next line. Yeah, so here it is. So now all this is in the next line. What if we just put this all this content in the middle of the page? So we have this form. We can actually create a separate file for CSS, but like let's just add it within the head tag itself, within the style, because it's just a like very short file. That's why I'm keeping it here. Otherwise, what is preferred to never use the like the internal CSS. This there are like three different types of CSS, how we can link the CSS in the HTML. One is the inline, that like we define the styles within the tags itself using a style tag. The next one is in the internal, which we are using currently, and the other one would be the external. Here we can actually create a style.css, and then here in the head tag we will add it with a link tag and define its path. So right now it's just a very short file. That's why we are using it within the HTML itself. So like how we will style it. Right now we don't have many forms. It's just the one form. So we can actually directly use the element selector, that is the form, define the brackets. And then within the brackets, we can actually give it a background to check if the CSS is working properly. So let's just give it a background of red. Okay, I have misspelled the lang. Okay, yeah, so this is the form and it is coming in red. Okay, let's just give this whole form within a div and give it a class of form wrapper. Okay, this should be closed here. How it is looking. Let's go back, refresh. Yeah, so now you can see there is almost no change in the visual appearance. What we'll do now is we'll style this a bit. So first we will take this form wrapper. We will add it here itself, like the style. Usually we can add the CSS using three ways: internal, external, or inline. External one is the most preferred, where you define a separate file and you link it in the HTML. It is the most recommended and usually most followed also. The other one is the internal, which we are using. We can add all the styling within this style tags in the head section. And the last one is the third one is the inline, where you can actually define the styles within the elements, like from like in this label element, we can add a style and property and add all the style like color, whatever you want to give. So for this, it's a relatively shorter file. So that's why I'm just using it in the internal. So let's copy it from wrapper. Let's use a class selector and give it a background of, let's say, light blue maybe, and can also do it, maybe make it center aligned. For that, we will need to give it a width of maybe 600 pixel. We can give it a margin of, let's say, 20 pixel from the top and auto to make it like horizontally center aligned. And then what we can do is add a little of padding to have a good board, have a little cushioning inside the form, because it will look better. 30 pixel maybe. Let's see. Yeah, so it's looking much better than previous. And also like it is looking very raw. So to make it a bit little beautify, we can add some font. It's Google font you can use. I had already like searched on it. So you can just go to, like, I'll do it again. So you can go to Google Fonts. Uh, After going, you can use any font that you like. Let's maybe use this, or maybe this one. So you can just go to get fonts, get embed font, or you can also download it and have a folder of it separately. Just get embed fonts, then you can copy this code and add it. It will also already give you suggestion where you need to put it. So embed code in the head of your HTML. So this is the head, and here we need to define it. And let's see, is there any change? No. Why? Because right now we have just imported it. We also need to do this. This is how we will tell the browser, we will tell it to have it on the site. Let's just go to code, and we want to give it, instead of like putting it for every each element or something, we can put it for the whole of body. Let's see how it is looking now. Yeah, we can clearly see the difference. It's looking much cleaner and much different, like it was looking previously. Okay, this button is looking quite still a bit dull. Let's add some styling for that button. So we can give it a button, can give it a background color of maybe blue, some shade of blue, maybe this one. Okay. Add a bit of padding, say 8 pixel from top and bottom and 30 pixel right and left. Then we can have a border radius of maybe 12 pixels. Let's see. Yeah, better, but still the font is looking quite dull. Let's increase the font size to 22 pixel, and also add a bit of margin, or else like we will give it some gapping using other way instead of margin. They are like different from previously. uh Instead of purple, let's give it some other color of blue. You can also, like, if you are not confused about using a color, you can like pick it from here. Let's give it this one. Yeah, this is slightly better. And to maintain a contrast, let's give it a color of white. Okay, now we need to add some spacing between these three fields. So where these three fields exist, the parent is the form. So let's just use this form to style it. In the form tag, what we can use is display of flex, and within this display flex, we can define a gap, let's say 15 pixel. Okay, so with using of the display flex, what it has done, it has moved all of it within a one line. So we need to do a flex direction of column. Yeah, now it's looking better in terms of gapping. But what has happened to the button? So to have this button, either we have two ways. We can even give this input a whole of the width, or what we can do is we can just fix this button. So to fix this button, we can actually define justify content center. Okay, and the next is align item centers. Align item center. So now all of this has moved to the center. But what about this heading? Still there. So to make it also center, you can do text align center. So this is how the form is looking now. It's much better. What other you can actually experiment in terms of styling, like you can give input some rounded borders, or you can actually add a background instead of this white. You can use a background image and define the URL of the image. That also you can do. And this is how we can actually create a login form in the pure HTML. So you have learned that how we can use different elements for styling, different properties of those elements. So that's it for this video. If you want to learn more about JavaScript and how we can send it to server, you can let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching it. Thank you.